The stars shone brightly in the endless dark of space. Planets and moons circled silently, and distant suns lit up the cold void. But something was coming. Something large. Something powerful. Something that made even the bravest stop and watch. The human warship called the Leviathan moved through the galaxy like a giant shadow. It was not just big. It was a moving fortress. Many ships had tried to describe it, but none could capture its true size and power. It was so massive that it blocked the light of distant stars. It had thick metal armor, hundreds of weapons of all kinds, and engines that could outpace almost anything else. Across the galaxy, news of the Leviathan spread fast. Alien races talked in hushed voices, sharing stories that sounded more like legends than facts. Some said it could destroy an entire fleet with a single blast. Others believed it had shields so strong that no weapon could break through. What everyone agreed on was simple. The Leviathan was terrifying. In a distant star system called Zar 9, a group of alien leaders gathered in their command room. Their species was known for its strong warriors and clever minds, but even they felt nervous now. "We cannot fight this human warship," said Commander Zorak, a tall alien with green skin and sharp eyes. "It will destroy us all." "But if we retreat," argued General Vex, "we lose control of this system and everything beyond it." The room grew silent. Every alien commander looked at each other, trying to find a solution. None could. Far away from their meeting, the Leviathan moved slowly into the Zar 9 system. Its crew was quiet but ready. The captain of the ship, Captain Aiden Gray, stood on the bridge. He was a human with years of experience in space battles. His eyes were calm but sharp, and his voice carried the weight of command. "Prepare for system entry," Captain Gray ordered. "Keep all weapons ready. We do not want to start a fight, but we will be ready if one comes." The crew worked quickly. Technicians checked the engines, gunners loaded their weapons, and navigators calculated the best path through the system. Outside the thick windows of the bridge, stars passed by slowly and the planets of Zar 9 grew larger. Suddenly, the Leviathan's sensors detected many ships approaching. The alien fleet had gathered to meet the human warship. The aliens' ships were smaller but more numerous. They moved in tight formations, their weapons glowing red and blue. Captain Gray looked at the screen, showing the enemy ships closing in. He did not smile, but there was a quiet confidence in his eyes. "Hold your positions," he said calmly. "Let them come closer. We will show them why the Leviathan is feared." The alien commanders watched as the huge ship moved slowly toward them. Some of their younger officers felt a shiver of fear. They had heard stories of the Leviathan, but seeing it in person was different. "We should attack now," one officer said. "We have more ships." Commander Zorak shook his head. "No, let us see what the humans do first." As the fleets drew nearer, the Leviathan released a powerful wave of energy. It was not an attack, but a signal. A warning. The pulse spread through space and disrupted some enemy systems. The aliens' ships flickered, their weapons cooled down, and their shields weakened for a moment. The aliens were shocked. They had never seen a warship with such advanced technology. Captain Gray spoke again, his voice calm but firm. "This is your chance to step back. We do not want to fight unless you force us." The alien commanders hesitated. Their war machines were ready, but their leaders were unsure. They had never faced a foe like this before. Suddenly, one of the alien ships moved forward. It was a scout ship, smaller and faster. It came close to the Leviathan and sent a message. "We come in peace. We wish to talk." Captain Gray nodded. "Open a channel." The scout ship's voice was shaky but polite. "Why have you come here, humans? We fear your warship." Captain Gray smiled slightly. "We are here to protect our interests, but we prefer peace to war. We only fight if necessary." The alien commander thought carefully. "Many have tried to fight humans before. Many have lost. Why do you think you can succeed?" Captain Gray's answer was simple. "Because we never give up. Because we fight for what we believe in. Because we are humans." The aliens were silent. The words were strange to them, but they understood the meaning. Humans were different. They did not fear death. They did not surrender easily, and they fought with heart. Back on the Leviathan, the crew prepared for any outcome. They knew that peace was the best goal, but if the aliens chose battle, they would meet a storm. The stars around Zar 9 flickered as the fleets held their positions. The galaxy watched silently. The legend of the Leviathan was just beginning, and soon everyone would learn why enemies chose surrender over battle. The cold darkness of space was filled with tension. The human warship Leviathan and the alien fleet faced each other silently near the Zar 9 system. Both sides waited, watching, ready for what might come next. Captain Aidan Gray stood on the bridge of the Leviathan, eyes fixed on the glowing dots on the main screen. Each dot was an enemy ship, many more than the humans had. But Captain Gray did not show fear or worry. He was calm and focused, knowing his ship and crew were ready. "We are outnumbered," said Lieutenant Mira, the ship's weapons officer. Her voice was steady, but there was a hint of concern. "Numbers do not win wars," Captain Gray replied. "Skill, strategy, and willpower do. Remember that." The crew worked quickly and quietly. The Leviathan was not just a big ship. It was a symbol of human strength and smart technology. Its weapons were some of the best in the galaxy. Long-range lasers, missile launchers, and energy cannons that could cut through the thickest armor. But the real power of the Leviathan was its crew. Men and women trained for years to work together, perfectly. They moved like a single mind, anticipating each other's needs and actions. Outside, the alien ships moved into attack positions. Their weapons glowed brightly, ready to fire. The alien commanders were confident. They believed their numbers would crush the humans. They had never met humans before, but they had heard stories. Now they wanted to test those stories in battle. "Captain, they are firing," Lieutenant Mira shouted suddenly. Bright beams of energy and missile trails streaked across space toward the Leviathan. The ship's powerful shields flared to life, blocking many attacks, but some missiles exploded against the armor, shaking the ship slightly. "Damage report," Captain Gray asked. "Minor hull damage near the aft section," the engineer replied. Shields holding strong. The Leviathan did not rush. Instead, it moved slowly and carefully. It was not just a warship. It was a fortress, hard to break. The captain wanted to teach the aliens a lesson, not just destroy them. "Return." "Fire," Captain Gray ordered. The Leviathan responded with a bright flash of light. Its lasers fired in quick bursts, targeting the enemy ships. One by one, alien ships began to slow down, their shields flickering. "We are hitting them hard," said Lieutenant Mira. "Their formation is breaking." Suddenly, an enemy ship fired a fast missile directly at the Leviathan's engines. The missile struck, causing a loud explosion and shaking the ship harder than before. "Engine damage," the engineer shouted. "We are losing speed." "Damage control teams move to the engine room," Captain Gray commanded. Despite the damage, the Leviathan kept fighting. The crew worked fast to repair the engines while the weapons teams continued firing. The alien fleet was surprised. They expected the humans to panic, but the Leviathan stayed strong. Captain Gray's crew was brave and determined. "Prepare for boarding defense," Captain Gray said quietly. "They may try to send troops aboard." Alien boarding ships launched quickly. Small fighters zoomed toward the Leviathan, carrying soldiers ready to attack. The humans fired at them with rapid laser bursts. Many of the small ships exploded before reaching the warship, but some got close. "Boarding alert. Security. Teams to battle stations," the security officer yelled. On the ship's decks, human soldiers armed with advanced weapons waited. The first wave of aliens tried to land, but the humans were ready. They fought fiercely, using clever traps and teamwork. One soldier shouted, "Hold the line! Don't let them through!" The battle on the ship was loud and chaotic, but the humans did not give up. Slowly, the boarding ships were destroyed or forced to retreat. Back on the bridge, Captain Gray watched the battle unfold. He knew the fight was not just about weapons, it was about spirit, the will to survive and protect. "Send a message to their commanders," he said. "Tell them humans fight with heart and honor. We do not start wars, but we never back down." The aliens received the message. Some commanders felt doubt. The humans were tougher than they had expected. As the battle went on, the Leviathan's crew showed amazing skill. They repaired the damaged engines, improved their shields, and launched counterattacks. Slowly, the alien fleet began to retreat. Commander Zorak, watching from his ship, realized the truth. The humans were not just fighters. They were warriors with courage and strength that could not be measured by numbers alone. "We should consider surrender," Zorak told his officers. "This fight is not worth the cost." But some aliens still wanted to fight. They fired one last barrage of missiles at the Leviathan. The humans dodged, blocked, and returned fire with great force. When the smoke cleared, many alien ships were destroyed or damaged. The remaining fleet turned away. Captain Gray watched silently as the enemies fled. "Today we showed them what humanity can do," he said softly. "This is only the beginning." The crew cheered quietly. They knew the Leviathan was more than a ship. It was a symbol, proof that humans, no matter how small or outnumbered, would never give up. And this story would spread through the stars, warning others. Fighting humans meant facing the Leviathan, and the choice to surrender was better than the choice to battle. The quiet after battle was never truly quiet aboard the Leviathan. Even as the alien ships withdrew, the human crew was alert and ready. Captain Aidan Gray stood on the bridge, watching the stars slowly drift by. His face was calm, but inside, he knew the fight was far from over. The damage to the ship's engines was mostly repaired, but the crew worked non-stop to fix every small problem. The Leviathan was a great machine, but it was the people who made it strong. Lieutenant Mira moved through the corridors, checking on her team. She smiled as she saw engineers working late into the night, their hands steady despite exhaustion. "We won't let this ship fall," she thought. "Not while we still breathe." In the mess hall, soldiers shared stories. They talked about their homes, their families, and the reason they fought. Despite the harsh conditions, their spirits stayed high. They knew what was at stake, not just their lives, but the future of humanity. One soldier, Corporal Jax, laughed as he recounted a battle from his past. "The aliens thought they could scare us," he said. "But they didn't know we have something stronger than weapons. We have heart." Word of the Leviathan's victory spread quickly through the galaxy. Other human ships sent messages of support. Aliens who heard the news began to whisper tales of the warship's power. But what truly made the Leviathan feared was not only its technology but the humans' unbreakable spirit. Days passed and the Leviathan continued its mission. It moved through the Zar 9 system, securing key points and protecting human allies. The alien fleet had been pushed back, but they were still watching, waiting for a chance to strike again. Captain Gray gathered his senior officers in the strategy room. Maps of star systems and fleet positions covered the walls. "We cannot let them regroup," he said. "Our strength lies in our unity and resolve. Every member of this crew must fight not just for themselves, but for all of humanity." The officers nodded. They knew the captain's words were true. Suddenly, an alert sounded. The Leviathan's sensors detected a strange signal coming from a nearby planet. Lieutenant Mira examined the data. "Captain, it looks like a distress call, possibly from human colonists." Captain Gray's eyes narrowed. "Set course immediately. We cannot leave any of our people behind." The Leviathan changed direction and sped toward the planet. As they approached, the crew saw signs of destruction on the surface. Burned forests, damaged buildings, and smoke rising. "Enemy forces have attacked," the captain said grimly. "We must act fast." The ship deployed small fighter crafts and ground troops. Soldiers prepared to land and defend the colonists. The Leviathan's crew worked as one, showing skill and courage. On the planet's surface, human soldiers fought, alongside the colonists. Despite being outnumbered, they held their ground. The aliens attacked fiercely, but the humans refused to give up. In the middle of the battle, Corporal Jax led a small team to protect a group of civilians trapped in a collapsed building. "Stay close," he ordered. "We'll get you out." With quick thinking and bravery, Jax and his team cleared rubble and guided the survivors to safety. Back on the ship, Captain Gray coordinated the fight. He used every resource wisely: sending reinforcements where needed and striking the enemy from unexpected angles. Slowly but surely, the alien attackers began to retreat. After the battle, the colonists thanked the Leviathan's crew. Their relief and gratitude gave the soldiers new strength. Captain Gray looked at his crew and smiled faintly. This is what makes us different. We fight not for glory, but for each other. The story of the Leviathan's courage on that distant planet spread fast. Across star systems, humans and allies gained hope. They saw the Leviathan not just as a warship, but as a beacon of human spirit, fearless, loyal, and unstoppable. Meanwhile, alien leaders grew more uneasy. The humans did not just rely on weapons. They had something stronger, a heart and mind united in one cause. Commander Zorak sent a message to his leaders. The humans are unlike any enemy we have faced. Their strength is beyond their machines. They fight with their souls. The alien leaders knew they faced a force that could not be defeated by firepower alone. As the Leviathan sailed on, Captain Gray prepared his crew for what was next. The war was far from over, but humanity's spirit had been unleashed and nothing would stop it. The alien leaders gathered in a cold metal room deep inside their main command station. The air was thick with tension. Large screens showed images of the human warship Leviathan, its black armor shining, its weapons ready, its presence alone, enough to shake the courage of any enemy. Commander Zorak stood in front of the others. He looked tired. The battle at Zar 9 had changed everything. We attacked with numbers. They stood firm. We sent our best troops. They held the line. That ship, the Leviathan, it is not just metal and firepower. It is something else, Zorak said slowly. One of the younger commanders, Varnok, laughed. It's just a ship. If we build something bigger, we can win. Zorak turned to him, eyes sharp. You don't understand. We are fighting humans. Their strength isn't just their ship. It's their will. The room fell silent. None dared argue again. Meanwhile, far away in human space, the Leviathan continued its journey. Captain Aidan Gray sat in his command chair, reading the latest reports. There were rumors of a new alien weapon, a supership, being built in secret. Do we have confirmation? He asked. Lieutenant Mira replied, Not yet, Captain, but the signals from Sector V-17 are strange. We think they're hiding something there. Captain Gray stood. Then we'll go there. We don't wait for the enemy to strike. We stop them before they start. The crew got to work quickly. They trusted their captain. He had led them through many battles, always with courage, always with calm. He didn't speak loudly, but when he did, everyone listened. As the Leviathan moved toward Sector 517, the crew trained harder. In the gym, soldiers ran drills, preparing for boarding actions and ground fights. Engineers tuned the ship's weapons, checking every circuit and cannon. In the strategy room, officers ran battle simulations. Corporal Jax, always joking during downtime, became more serious. This next fight might be the big one, he told Mira during lunch. If they're building something to match us, we better hit it before it's ready. Mira nodded. They fear us now. That means they're desperate. Desperate enemies are dangerous. 3 days later, the Leviathan reached the edge of Sector 517. From a distance, the crew saw nothing but stars and dust clouds. But the ship's sensors detected something large hidden behind a small moon. Magnify the image, Captain Gray ordered. The screen lit up, revealing a huge alien structure, part station, part warship. It was not finished, but it was already massive. That's their project, said Mira. It's a dreadnought. Captain Gray narrowed his eyes. If that ship is completed, they'll use it against every human colony in this region. He tapped the console. Prepare for a stealth approach. We're going in. The Leviathan shut down its main lights and changed its path to avoid detection. Like a ghost in space, it moved silently toward the moon. Once close, Captain Gray gave the order. Launch recon drones. We need full visuals inside that structure. Tiny machines flew out from the Leviathan, scanning the alien dreadnought. What they found shocked the human crew. Inside the station were hundreds of alien workers and soldiers. They were rushing to finish the dreadnought. Dozens of cannons were already installed, and strange energy fields glowed around the ship's frame. "If we wait, they'll finish it," Mira said. "Then they'll use it against us." Captain Gray nodded. "Then we don't wait." He stood before his crew. "Listen up," he said. "We are not just here to fight. We are here to stop a future threat before it grows too strong. This is more than a mission. It's a message. We show them that humans will not back down. We strike now and we strike hard." The crew cheered. The Leviathan turned toward the alien dreadnought. Its weapons came to life, glowing with power. Then the attack began. Missiles launched from the Leviathan and exploded against the alien station. Laser beams tore through metal walls. The dreadnought shook under the force. Inside, alien workers panicked. Alarm systems screamed. Commanders shouted orders, but it was too late. The humans had arrived and they were unstoppable. Alien ships launched from nearby, trying to protect the station. But the Leviathan was ready. Its fighters met, them in the void, dancing through space and cutting down enemy after enemy. Captain Gray kept his voice steady. "Keep the pressure, don't let them regroup." On the surface of the dreadnought, a human strike team landed. Corporal Jax led the charge. His team placed charges on power cores and fuel lines. 3 minutes till boom, he shouted as they ran back to their ship. Back on the Leviathan, the crew watched as the alien dreadnought cracked apart. Fire and smoke filled the black sky. A huge explosion followed, shaking nearby ships. The alien station was gone. The enemy had lost their secret weapon before it could even be completed. As the Leviathan turned away from the wreckage, Captain Gray spoke once more. "Send a message to all sectors. Let them know what happened here." He paused. "Let them know what happens when you try to match the spirit of humanity." Across the galaxy, word of the attack spread like wildfire. The aliens were shaken. They had tried to build something to scare the humans, but instead it was the aliens who felt fear. After the destruction of the alien dreadnought, the crew of the Leviathan felt a surge of hope and pride. Captain Aidan Gray stood on the bridge, watching the stars pass by. The galaxy was vast, and the war was far from over. But the message was clear. Humanity would not be beaten. In the weeks following the attack, the Leviathan became a symbol across human space. News of the daring strike and the courage of the crew spread to every colony, every outpost, and every starship. The name Leviathan was spoken with respect and admiration. Captain Gray received messages from commanders across the galaxy. Many wanted to join forces, to fight together. The humans were no longer alone. On board the ship, preparations began for something new, a great rally of human fleets. Ships from all corners of human space were called to gather. The goal was simple but powerful: unite and show the galaxy the strength of human resolve. Lieutenant Mira worked tirelessly to coordinate with the other ships. "Captain, we have fleets responding from more than 50 systems," she reported. "They are eager to fight alongside us." Gray smiled. "That's the spirit that wins wars." As the fleets gathered near the planet Seraphis, the sight was breathtaking. Hundreds of ships of all sizes, from tiny fighters to massive cruisers, filled the space around the planet like a living constellation. The human fleet was alive with energy and hope. Captain Gray addressed the fleet from the Leviathan's bridge. His voice was calm, but filled with determination. "Friends and comrades, today we stand united. Our enemies have tried to break us, with numbers, with weapons, with fear. But they forget one thing: the human spirit. It is stronger than steel, brighter than any star. We fight not just for survival, but for our home, for our families, and for the future we believe in." His words echoed across the fleet, inspiring all who heard them. The alliance of human fleets prepared for their next mission: to protect the outer colonies and stop the alien forces from gaining ground. On the planet Seraphis, citizens watched, the fleet in awe. Children dreamed of becoming pilots, engineers, or soldiers. Adults felt hope for the first time in years. Meanwhile, in alien space, panic spread. The destruction of their dreadnought and the growing human fleet threatened to change the balance of power. Alien leaders held emergency meetings, desperate to find a way to stop the humans. Commander Zorak, weary but wise, spoke again. "We cannot face them in open war. We must find another way." But some alien factions refused. "We must fight until the last breath," they shouted. The alien empire was divided, weakened by fear and doubt. Back aboard the Leviathan, the crew continued their training. The coming battles would be difficult, but their confidence had grown. Corporal Jax gathered with other soldiers. "We're not just fighting for today. We're fighting for every human who ever dreamed of peace." Mira looked at him and nodded. "And we will make sure those dreams live." Then, the human fleet received a distress signal. An outer colony was under attack by alien raiders. The fleet moved quickly to respond. The battle was fierce. The aliens struck hard, hoping to break the alliance before it could grow stronger. But the human fleet fought as one, their ships moving in perfect coordination. Captain Gray led the charge, his calm commands guiding the fleet like a conductor leading a symphony. The Leviathan's weapons blazed, cutting through enemy ships with precision. On the colony's surface, human defenders stood firm. Their courage and teamwork matched the fleet above. After hours of fighting, the aliens were forced to retreat. The colony was saved. The victory was more than just a battle. It was proof that unity and spirit could overcome even the greatest odds. Captain Gray sent a message to all human forces. "Today we showed the galaxy the power of humanity united. We will not stop. We will not falter. We will protect our home and each other, no matter the cost." As the fleet celebrated, Captain Gray looked out into the stars. The war was far from over, but the humans had found something stronger than weapons: hope. And hope was the greatest power of all. The great human fleet stood tall in the vast black of space, a shining shield around the colonies. The Leviathan led the formation like a proud guardian. Captain Aidan Gray felt the weight of command, but also the hope that burned in every heart. Aboard. The alien forces were desperate. Their secret dreadnought was destroyed, their fleet scattered, and their leaders divided. They knew the humans would not stop. The war had reached its highest point, a final battle that would decide the fate of many worlds. "Enemy fleet detected," Lieutenant Mira said, eyes fixed on the screen. "They're approaching fast, and with heavy weapons." Captain Gray nodded. "All hands, prepare for battle. This is what we've trained for." The human ships aligned. Their engines glowed and weapons charged. The silence before the storm was heavy but not frightening. They were ready. As the enemy fleet came into range, the battle began. Explosions lit the dark space like deadly fireworks. The human fleet fought fiercely, moving with precision and courage. Captain Gray directed the Leviathan with calm focus. Every order was clear and confident. The ship fired powerful beams of energy, cutting through enemy shields. Fighter pilots dodged missiles, striking enemy ships with skill. On the ground, human soldiers defended their colonies with bravery. Corporal Jax led a squad to push back enemy raiders trying to land. "Hold the line," he shouted. "For humanity." The fight was hard. Many ships were damaged and some lives were lost. But the humans never gave up. Hours passed. Slowly, the tide of battle turned. The alien fleet, overwhelmed and outmatched, began to retreat. Commander Zorak, aboard his command ship, realized the truth. The humans had something no weapon could break: their unity and spirit. He ordered a retreat. The human fleet cheered as the enemy withdrew. The warship Leviathan floated proudly, the symbol of their strength. Captain Gray gathered his crew after the battle. "We fought not just for ourselves, but for every person who believes in a better future. Today, humanity has won a great victory, but this is not the end. We will continue to protect what we hold dear." The crew smiled, tired but proud. They knew the war would have more challenges, but they had proven they were unstoppable. In the days that followed, peace talks began. The alien leaders, humbled by defeat, reached out to negotiate. The humans agreed, not out of weakness, but because they wanted a lasting peace. Captain Gray stood at the peace table representing humanity. He spoke with strength and wisdom. We fought hard to defend our homes and lives. But we also want a future where all beings can live without fear. Let this be the start of something new. The aliens listened. They saw the human will to fight and the desire to build peace. Years later, the galaxy was a different place. Humans and aliens worked together, sharing knowledge and culture. The Leviathan remained a proud symbol of what humans could achieve, not just through weapons but through courage, unity, and hope. Captain Aidan Gray retired as a hero, but his legacy lived on. New generations heard the story of the warship that was so terrifying. Enemies chose surrender over battle. And humanity? They kept moving forward, ready for whatever the stars held next.